few Cowboys looking for some new deals. Welcome back to the show. CD, Micah, and Dak. Dak, only one at OTAs. Doesn't seem too stressed about his contract situation. Take a listen.
I know my business will take care of itself, and so been in it before, experienced, and just controlling what I can. I don't play for money. Never have, never cared for it, to be honest with you.
His agent's like, what? Brew, do you expect this to affect the Cowboys' season?
I don't at all. At all. No. I mean, if anything, this just puts a chip on Dak's shoulder, right? And it puts him in prove-it mode, which I like. Look, as much as I think they have bungled the offseason, there is something to be said about putting guys on notice. And that goes for Dak, Mike McCarthy, and the new he just got in the building, Mike Zimmer, who's got the one-year deal as defensive coordinator. Like, putting these guys on notice, like, this is it. This is the year you got to get it done. I think that's good. I'm not saying they've been great this offseason. Obviously, I've given them an F. But I don't think this is a bad, like, if Dak can't handle this situation, then maybe you're not the guy to lead us to a Super Bowl.
But so it almost sounds to me like you're saying it will affect the Cowboys. It'll just affect them positively.
I just think, look, either way, here's my point, Nick. If he had a contract, he would have to still go out and play great. If he does, now that he doesn't have a contract, I'm not trying to say what you're saying, but it behooves him, even if he is ticked off, even if he is bothered to the high heavens, it behooves him to go out and play the absolute best he can so that he can get a deal either with the Cowboys or the next team.
Yeah, no, I understand, like, what is optimal for him is almost contract agnostic. But I don't think that's how human beings operate. I think that we sometimes, in just kind of life commentary, we take something, when A.J. Brown signs his new deal and Devontae Smith signs his new deal, we say that helps the Eagles because it creates good vibes.
It did.
Okay, I agree. Isn't that the back end of that logic is if they wanted new deals and didn't get them, it could potentially create bad vibes. It could also, I think that's common sense. Now, maybe it creates motivation to go, but maybe it creates anxiety. Maybe it creates, and Dak is a player who I don't know has dealt the best with anxiety.
Let's see.
Right, and so
can you handle anxiety?
And so So my point is, I think it 100% is going to have a considerable impact on how he plays. Not necessarily negative. It is yet to be seen. But there is in my experience, there is a level of anxiety associated with being in the midst of a contract negotiation or awaiting a new contract that is relieved in the days, weeks, and months right after you sign a contract. Now, for some people, it creates laziness. We hear about this all the time. Contract year guy, he was great in his contract year and then fell off.
Right.
And then you also see the opposite sometimes. Guys who don't perform.
In a contract year, they don't perform?
Yeah, because the guys who don't then end up getting huge contracts.
Good. I can't imagine. And here's the thing about receivers. Now, the receivers are the most diva-like, players in the NFL. Quarterback is the most what? Professional. Like, you have got to have a different mentality as the quarterback. You're the leader of that team. You set the tone for the franchise. So if Dak can't handle this situation where he's in a contract, heck, he's got enough money. I'm not saying he doesn't want more, but it's not like he's never had a big deal either. He's got a ton of money. He will sign with somebody. You're convinced he's going to, if he doesn't have a great year and Dallas doesn't want him and he goes somewhere else,
he'll still get a ton of money.
So if he can't handle this little bit of pressure, then he's not the guy to lead us to a Super Bowl. I'm talking I'm Jerry Jones.
I think that this is a super unique situation as far as a quarterback of his age, of his caliber, a consensus top 15. right? Consensus. You know, everyone, even the biggest Dak critics don't say he's below average quarterback. Coming off statistically the best season of his career, whose team is saying, we're not sure about you yet. That is going to impact
Kirk. How Kirk do? Kirk Cousins. Last year he was having a phenomenal season.
Well, hold on.
Individually.
I mean, last year, the start of the year, he kept turning the ball over in the red zone. Then his numbers were good aside from that. And he was okay. He also, though, was 35 years old. That was a different situation. And that was, I think, partially that he had gotten only fully guaranteed deals. He wanted that again. They wouldn't give it to him. This is a one-of-one situation. And this type of pressure, like how did Baker deal with it? Well, it depends on which Baker year we're talking about. He dealt with a great Tampa year, prove it year. But the year before that was a prove it year too, when he went to Carolina and he played the worst football of his life. These different things impact guys. So I think it is the story of the Cowboys season.
Is that he's not signed?
Yes. Wow. Because if he's great, then people are like, well, he could be leaving. If he's bad, then it's like, is it getting to him, and do we want him to leave? It's the reason we talk, when we were talking Trevor, about all these quarterbacks that they sign early that they regret, that they're these teams are not doing this out of the goodwill of their heart. Like, well, we know there's a risk, and we know we have the franchise tag, and we know they're under contract, but you know what? Give Kyler, Jared Goff, Carson Wentz a bucket of money. They do it because the alternative is send a signal to the world, we're not sure about our quarterback, and by the way, the only chance we have to be good is if they are fully bought in and good every single week. That's why teams pay these guys. That's why they do it.
I think it's because you don't want to lose the guy. But first of all, they shouldn't have paid Kyler Murray and some of these guys, right?
But why do you think they did?
Because I think they were afraid, like that. Kyler was coming off like he was going to make a stink. I had erased them off social media and all that stuff. Dak's not doing that. And also, look at Lamar Jackson. He played well, even though he was within contract negotiations with the Ravens. He still played good football.
And I think it was a partial story of that season, where people are tossing down placards, pay Lamar, he's picking them up, then he's hurt, but the team's like, he'll be back, he's not back. We all forget, you know what I mean, about how messy and uncomfortable that was. That was a massive story. He asked for a trade from them. Now, he ended up getting his money and winning an MVP, but in the moment, it wasn't clean, it wasn't easy, so I think it's the story for the Cowboys.
All right. Coming up next, we are talking about Lamar Jackson. Looking skinny. Andy's got Derrick Henry.
Skinny or slim?